However, most of this is review. Some of this is new that we really hadn't discussed in great detail, but most of this is review. Here is your assignment. Here we're gonna talk all the way from the brain to the stomach to the large intestine here. Really all of our major parts and all of our major organs that are in our body. That's the goal of today. So here's your assignment. I'm showing it to you first because if you wanted to have it, working on as we're going through, in my opinion, that's a wise idea. And well, you can work as we go through it. So the first thing here is the brain. Now, you guys know that your brain is in your head. You know that from when you were little on, and how important your brain is, because that's what it helps control your movement. That's how you feel stuff. I mean, your brain sends messages throughout your whole body. This is what's called the nervous system. If you want to raise your hand, you do that. Your brain sends messages down your spinal cord all the way through to your hand to have it raise up. This is why you ever see a little baby, they might have kind of choppy movements. They're literally, their brain is training their body in what to do, and you guys know as it gets fluid, if maybe football or shot at basketball or try something new, it might be a little awkward at first, but the more you practice, the more you get used to that, and your body just kind of gets used to those certain movements. That's all in your brain. You can kind of train your body that way to get used to that. I don't want you to think that your brain is a bunch of different colors. It's not. But the point of why they're all different colors is because there's a whole bunch of different parts. I mean, your brain is made up of a bunch of different parts. Again, it's not like a rainbow brain inside your head. It's really kind of a pinkish, reddish matter. But all these different parts have different things. Your sight is kind of in one area. Your senses are in different areas. When you are hearing something, a different part of your brain is working. There's all these different parts in your brain that have different functions that control different parts. And all of them are incredibly important. That's why protecting your head is so important. When you're riding a bike, to ride a helmet. When you're playing football or certain sports, you wear a helmet. Because if there are certain kinds of brain damage, depending on where you get hurt in your brain, it can really hurt certain functions of your body. And it's really irreparable. You can't fix it, which is why it's so important. Moving on here, the heart. You guys know how important your heart is. This is what completely controls your blood. Now, this is review from our circulatory system. But again, how does food, water, and air get to every last cell in your body? Through your bloodstream. All the parts of our body working together. And you guys know your heart is vital, right? If your heart stops, well, that means every cell in your body is not getting air, not getting food, not getting water, which means it's going to die rather quickly. Moving on to our lungs. This is part of our respiratory system, right? Our breathing. We have the trachea, right? Not the esophagus. The esophagus is for food. That's this tube down here going to the stomach. But your trachea right here, and then here's your bronchi, and the smaller tubes are called bronchioles. Those are what expand when you breathe in and collapse when you breathe out, right? You know how important your lungs are. That's why we're going through this. The major organs in your body, the main functions of your body. I mean, I'm not saying your fingers aren't important, but if you have a hurt or a broken finger, yes, it hurts, but you're going to survive, right? You're going to be fine in the long run. If a major injury happens to your brain, heart, lungs, or some other parts we're going to go through today, those are a bit more major. It's not meant to scare you by any means, but that's why we got to always take care of our body, and helps us to understand how our body works. So these are our lungs. They're inside, they're protected by our rib cage and our skeletal system, right? Here's the liver. Now this we didn't talk about a lot, but your liver is actually kind of a main organ. If you can look closely here, here's your heart right here. Here's your lungs in this bluish outline. Here's your stomach. Here's your small intestine and large intestine. Your liver is right here. It's protected by your rib cage here. But your liver is one of those, if you remember when we talked about the digestive system, certain organs in your body send digestive chemicals or enzymes into your stomach and into your small intestines to help break down the food. Remember, you got a whole plate of food. How in the world does it get so small that it gets to your bloodstream? Well, your liver helps a lot with that. Your liver sends a lot of those chemicals to help break down the foods and get it so small that it can get into your bloodstream. That's why your liver is so important. Now here's your stomach. Again, here's your esophagus going to your stomach. And I like these pictures because you can see the other organs we talked about. Here's the artery. Here's the vein going back to the heart, right? And here's the lungs, large intestine you can barely see here. Here's your stomach. And it's attached from your esophagus to your stomach, goes to your small intestine. But this is really what's going on. Literally, you get food that plops down to your stomach, and your stomach, along with like the liver that sends digestive enzymes, it's just mashing up the food to get it to this soupy paste. And when it finally gets there, it gets released into your small intestine to eventually get into your bloodstream. Your stomach is incredibly important. However, it's not the main part of the digestive system. The small intestine is actually that, but we'll get to that soon. Now here's your kidneys. It looks a little bit red like the heart, but they're not. It's not the heart. What your kidneys are very important in is part of your system, especially with liquids. I'm not trying to be funny or do a joke, but this is more what helps with your number one. Okay? That's what gets the waste out of your body when you go number one. Your urine, right? Your kidneys do a lot with filtering that out, and they're what helps make sure that, okay, this is good stuff, this stays, but this is the bad stuff. This is the stuff we don't need, and it goes out your body. If you drink a lot of liquids, that's what happens when you go number one. Yes, your body soaks up those nutrients, but the stuff that it doesn't need gets filtered and cleaned through your kidneys, and it goes out when you go potty, especially number one. That's what your kidneys are there for. Now here's your small intestine. Here's the stomach right here, and you can't hardly see it because there's so much stuff in here, but it looks like a tangled mess. Well, it's not a mess, but it is just all in your abdominal area here. It's all in there, and this is where most of your digestion takes place. It's if you would actually, and of course we can't do this, but if you actually stretch it out, it goes for an incredibly long ways. What's all in your I don't want to say stomach because it's not your stomach, but inside your abdominal area, this is where most of the digestion takes place. This is where those little finger tube-like things called villi are all throughout this small intestine, and when it finally gets to be small enough, those villi suck it up and put it right straight into your bloodstream, into your plasma, so it can go to each cell. But that's your small intestine. And then, of course, the end part is the large intestine. Now, again, this reddish part is the small intestine. This bigger part, which is larger, not as long, but larger, this is the large intestine. Now, this part here is not anything more than that's where you go number two. That's what that's for. Remember what your large intestine has two jobs. Your small intestine is what most of the digestion or breaking down the food takes place, gets it to the bloodstream. After it's back, remember what the plasma does in your blood. Takes the food to the cells, gets the waste like the dump truck, and it puts it into the large intestine. And your large intestine does two jobs. Number one, tries to get rid of as much liquid as possible, so it can be harder, right? Number two is literally a storage holding tank so that when you have to go number two, it's ready to go out. That's what your large intestine does. All part of your digestive system and things like that. But guys, I wasn't trying to go quickly through this. I know some of it's review, some of it's not. But please understand, again, I just want to go through the major organs in your body. And at any rate, hope we did that. If you want to review some of it, you definitely can rewatch this video. And yes, I know it's a little bit longer of pages, but you can also go through your science books there. But Lord's blessings to you guys as you praise your Savior.